Do you have projects that you just think, I really can't be arsed with this? And let's have a look at what you can do with it to transform it and to change it into something you do want to work. Well, hello. Welcome to Material Musings. It's the beginning of the month, and it's when we decide what is the project that we're going to be working on now. I thought to myself, what would be, or what I'm feeling like doing is reflecting on the projects that I've done so far. Can you believe that it's half a year? Can you believe it? Anyway, so I wanted to take a look back just at some of the projects that I've done. You can see some in the background that I've done over time, and we've come to the end of the well, we're coming to the end in the next few days of the Leaf for Arts, and I'll be sharing on Instagram and on my blog all of the leaves so far. We'll do a reflection next week, and then we'll do like, here's all of the 100 leaves, so you can check that. And so yeah, I'll be talking today about all of the projects that I've done, and we'll take a look at my least favorite project. I've got projects that I've started that it's just like I'm not feeling, and so I want to look at them again and see what can be, you know, how can you turn it on its head. So let us go to the desk, which is right here, and join me as we look at some of these pieces. Okay, hi guys. So I've got a whole load of pieces that are in front of me that I want to quickly share them with you, show you the one that I was finishing off. But I just wanted to have a look through some of the ones that I'd done previously, and it's especially when, like, you know, we're hitting the 6-month mark, and I want to look at what I've done previously, what's completed, where does it need to go. And this not only kind of, for me, helps encourage me and inspires me, and I think, oh, you know, that piece needs to go on to its next stage. I'm not sure what that next stage might be, but it's something then that I could sit and ponder over. And so I thought I would bring you along for the adventure. Why not? And we'll also look at a couple of my least favourite projects. Now, they're in my least favourite project container, and I'm not feeling it even just looking at the container, but towards the end we'll look at some of these projects. And what I wanted to show you was, how can you turn something that you're not feeling into something else? What can you pull out of it? So there may be things that we can pull out of it, there may be not. Anyway, so I do a mixture of like ones with figures and ones without. And here's a nice small one. Oh, I love the back. Look at the back. Ooh, love it. So this was using a jelly plate. I worked on the fabric, and then I thought I would use it in the back of this. So that's what the front looks like. So all I need to do now for this is put the inserts in at the back, and then it's a wall hanging. Do I want to add, sometimes I think I want to add do you call it, beading, but we've got beading on this, so I think I'll leave that. So that's that one. That's this one. It took a while to do with the face, so I freehand style drawed the face and then stitched it. I was thinking of putting beads on this one, but I stepped away. It's been wax resist, and I've maintained a lot of the areas maintain them in the flip side of this was done in a similar way, but I decided to do stitching in all of the spaces. So you can't really see where it's been wax resist, but that's how it started out. But I do like how this turned out. So there's still bits and pieces I'm thinking, oh, now I want to do this. So this area I was just going to add embroidery thread, but I'm going to add a thicker thread just to bring it in with these, in line with these. And then in the spaces you can see I was going to add beading, but I'm thinking I'm just going to add the thread, just continue with the thread. So I'll be working on this for a bit longer, and that's fine with me. So here's some other pieces, heavily, that's the backing for it, heavily worked on with jewellery, beading and things like that. And this is the joy for me, and it's just like, you know, when you find something that you're passionate about, you enjoy doing, it doesn't feel like you've been there for a long time. It doesn't feel like, you know, you spent all day or however long it takes. And it's interesting when people ask, you know, how long did a piece take? And it's just like, I guess it takes as long as it takes, but I'm often thrown when somebody asks, or it depends who the person is. And it's just like, I don't know, like a year. It's like, what are you expecting to hear, and how would that make you feel? Like, what does that mean for you if I tell you a year, if I tell you a week? You know, is it that you think, oh yeah, I could do that? Or a year? You know, like some of the pieces, it takes that long because you don't sit in one sitting and do it, and you might walk away for 6 months and come back or whatever. So that's this piece. I've done its backing in its own right, but I'm thinking about the size. And the other thing that I had wanted to put this on here, but then I realised that I hadn't done it straight. But then I thought, it doesn't matter. It's like, that's how this piece spoke to me. This is how it wanted to be brought into the world. Okay, there's loads more, but these are just the main ones that I'm so pleased that I've finished, because they had been taking a while. So again, I've used one of my figures and stamped it on the... I cut out the pieces and then applied them, so a bit like applique. And then I can link the videos where it was just like, and now I want to do this, and now I want to do that, and then it's just kind of grown, mushroomed. And if you joined us over the last few weeks, you would have seen this fabric journal. I play in this one, and I work on different supplies, experimenting with different materials, and yeah, so it's got a ways to go. This I was practicing with some texture. I really like this actually, and it's interesting. It's like a modelling paste, but this was reaction between the two chemicals that were mixed together, and they dried hard on the surface and given us this really kind of a puckered look with these circles. It almost looks like the surface of a planet on here. Can you see? And then I've painted it and then highlighted it with gold rub-on. So that's that one. I had created a kawandi. I didn't finish with the, was it bukas, is it? Tulas? The bits on the corner. So I guess it's done in my style, because I didn't really like the bits on the corner, but I was inspired by the kawandi, and these are all fabrics that I've dyed, hand dyed, wax resist, some tea dyed, some clay dyed, some avocado seed dyed, yeah? And that's the back. This is avocado seed dyed and then stenciled. And as I said, I stitched it in the way that a kawandi would have been done. And then I added additional like beading and things like that, additional elements. And we've got a bit of puckering because what I had done was I had stitched the this element first prior to doing the fabric, so it's not attached, is it? It's not attached. This I stitched separately, so it's not attached to, I had stitched all of this so that when you turn the back you could see it, but it's not attached. Yeah, it's only this bit that's attached. Okay, and then I've recently made another inspired kawandi, and again taken mainly, mainly fabrics that I've painted and worked on. This is the only piece. These two pieces are the only ones that I haven't physically painted myself. This is like African material, or the Dutch wax material. But yeah, I enjoyed doing that one. It's on a handkerchief, so you've got the little design there. And I've got a few more. I was sent them by a fellow artist, and I was just like, yeah, it's just the ideal size to be able to sit down. You've got fabric and you just want to do something small. So this was a really nice size to be able to work on. So now I've got two under my belt, inspired by the kawandi. So let's look at, I want to show you briefly some projects that I haven't even seen for a while. And I put it in here just to make myself feel better, but I'm going to see if I can be inspired by the contents and maybe work on some of the pieces. Let's just take them all out and see what's in here, and then we'll see what we can do. Let's see how we can be inspired. Ooh, I'm inspired already. There's like a packet of seed beads, so that can go in a potential project. Let me just put it to the side. So we've got some small pieces here, and one of the ways in which I want to encourage you is to think about some of the fabric that you think, oh, they're just fabric scraps, and think about how you can add them to projects or add them together. Like we've got a cluster of pieces here. Now, these are painted fabric. I haven't stitched them, I've just stuck them together and they've held. And I've stuck them on cardboard, and so I could, you know, attach them to an art journal. There's another little one that is been placed together. Again, it's stuck down with fabric glue. So you could make these small pieces, and you know, it doesn't have to be painted fabric. It could be fabric that, you know, that you've been stitching with. And I've got a whole bag of fabric scraps that I can then, you know, I want to work with them. So it's like having some elements from other places. It might inspire you to think, oh, you know, I'd love to be able to do something with that. Or what does me pulling the fibers out, how does that inspire me? Or what does that make me feel like? This is just a pocket that has had some stitching on. And then this is a tea light that has been stitched to the pocket, and that can be, you know, added to a project. We've got a small fabric piece where I've stitched on, so you can stitch words on small fabric pieces. Again, you could get a series of scraps together, stitch them together, make one full sheet, and then you can either cut it up or you can, you know, use that in a kawandi. You know, it could be the base, form the basis of something else that you're working on. Like that is something I'm thinking I would want to do. Get all my fabric scraps, put them together. You could stick them, fabric, the Bonder weave or whatever, iron them on, and then stitch it with the sewing machine, and then that could be the backing for a kawandi or backing for an art journal or whatever project. So I'm already inspired. So what have we got here? So we have a piece that I worked on. It's come out. And it's a selection of painted pieces, and I wanted to kind of like do a mini collage and bring them together, and this is as far as I got. So maybe I could find a backing fabric for them. Yeah, I'm feeling that. And we're going to do some hand stitching around the edges. They're where they've been painted, they're quite thick. So this fabric is a trousers material. It's been painted with acrylic, so it's going to be quite challenging to work through. Even these bits, so they've been stuck on. So I would have to maybe think about in between. So in between these two is not too bad. I'd be able to get a needle through without any, I was going to say without any issue, but I'll probably need a thimble as well. I've had so many needles go through my fingers where it's been too hard. So these softer jeans materials, and where it's not heavily painted, I could, yeah, do some stitches. So that's another potential project. What have we got here? I was making a fabric container. So again, I could take fabric scraps and just in the round just stitch, start from, ooh. Now I feel like doing that, yeah. So just take the fabric scraps and stitch them and build it up, go round and round and round until you reach the top. So there's a project. What else have we got? Again, just some bits of fabrics that's been stitched. This is like a baby wipes, and this is a jumper from a top. I think I was thinking of having it as a middle section, and or like, you know, a filler inside, and then I could stitch on it. Got another unfinished piece. So there are a range of projects that can be looked into. So again, I was looking at scraps and thinking how they can be put together, and just came up with this piece and used a sewing machine, and this is hand stitched and the sewing machine. I'm thinking dyeing this, maybe tea dyeing, and seeing what colours I get. Oh, and maybe this one. I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to tea dye those two and then work on them. This is another larger piece that I was going to do. Started it, and I would like to bring this out. Yeah, so maybe look for a backing, stitch it on. I want to add some stitching in between all of these. That's how I think I want to work on this. Just add loads of stitching on here, and then bring the stitching into this area here. So we've got jeans material, and then we've got these painted panels. There's 15 of them. So yeah, I like it. And the painted panels are done on canvas, and I, you know, just painted it, added loads of just mark making really, and I really like the way it looks. So that's a potential, and I would like to see that finished. This one, ooh, look at this one. There's 2 in here, 2 for 1. Ooh, it's amazing. When I saw it before, I wasn't feeling it. But okay, so we've got fabric scraps that have been brought together. Ones that I've painted, ones that are, you know, just fabric, and I brought them on this thing. And so for this, what I would like to do is find the backing, and then just go around and do some stitching. So add more stitching to this surface, but we're going to keep it simple and just do straight stitch. And we've got some homegrown cotton here, Sea Island cotton. I've just flattened it out and then added some stitches to it. So these are the projects that I'm going to be looking at going forward. And as I say, there are a lot of projects that have yet to be finished, because I do start some, or I get an idea and I think, let me run with that, and I put it down, walk away, and then come back. So yeah, these are the ones that are going to be sitting and waiting to be worked on. My goodness, I like this one. And sometimes it's very small things that need to be done to bring it to that it's finished now. So again, I would find the backing that I want to use, and then just stitch around. It's had hand stitching, look at the little patterns there. And it's had machine stitching as well. They're all different elements that have been stitched at different times. But yeah, bringing it together on one piece. And I think there's just one more, or 2 more. I was looking for this one. Let's put this to the side. Turtle, wax resist, and I don't think I got all the wax out, so I'll be keeping this out to do that with. And I did an exercise on, I showed how you can, using wax, work on paper and have a nice resisted paper as well. So I'm going to be creating more of those papers as I get the wax out by ironing. And you literally just sandwich this in between the iron and get all the wax out, and then you're left with a nice, you know, it's kind of fairly translucent in some places where the wax is. That's that one. And then this one, I was looking for this one. This was done using Derwent pencils, and I added some paint there. I've got some tulip paint, but I want to add a backing to this, and I'm feeling now kind of some mark makings all over, so we'll be working on this. Okay, so for the small project that we'll do, why don't we start with this one, and I'll show you how I will get the wax out of that, and I will then that can be used in a creative project, working on the waxed paper. So what you need is an iron, my dear. So I've got an old iron that we no longer use in the house, and the reason why we got another one was because it's so temperamental. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so we've got it on cotton, and I'm going to get paper. This is how I would normally create these kind of papers. I create the wax on the paper first, and then what I do is I paint the papers, and you can get some really lovely effects. Now, so you can use printer paper. I've got this, actually I'll put it the other way around. I dislike, do you know, it's weird because in paint this is my favourite colour, but in this particular paper, I've had these for years and I really dislike them. So I'm going to, we'll see how much wax is still on the surface of the paper. So you just get your iron and you just leave it on. Look, you can see there's a lot of wax still left. So I'm just gonna allow the wax to be absorbed into the onto the paper. So it's on a cotton setting, the hottest, so hopefully I'll get quite a bit up, you can see. So you have to move it around so that it doesn't think that you've, when you stop, it will go off. Okay, so let's feel. And it gets pretty, like it was fairly stiff. I'm going to see how this card works this way. It's probably easier with the paper because it's thinner, and the card, because it's so much thicker, it takes a bit longer. But yeah, the other way in which you get the wax out is by boiling. But this way, because I was concerned about the water, when you boil it and then the wax is in the water and you throw that away, where are you going to throw it away? You know, you've thrown it in your garden, what's it do to the plants? And ironing means that, yeah, I can then, with these papers, I just create some really nice background papers. Or they go into, you know, they go into a journal. Nothing is wasted. And I can show you some of the paper that I've created in this way, using the wax. It is very cool. Okay, I think that should be enough. So you can see the wax that has come off. If the wax goes through the paper, like, so you can see just there and there, that then is a resist. So if I put paint on, that area will be resisted by the paint. And you can see that better. Yeah? Like so. And there's just a bit on there. This is my self-healing mat. And so now we have this piece that has, it's a lot softer. All the wax has gone. And I can just double check that by maybe doing a piece that, like this edge, there's probably still a little bit on the edge there. So let us see what we can do about that. Yeah, we'll still get some coming up. It's actually still quite a lot coming up with the paper. So I'll just go round and see if there's any more bits like that. I think we've got most of it. Alright, so it's all done now, it's all soft. I say that and then it's like you come to a piece and it's just like, I think this is quite heavy cotton, so as it cools down it will retain a firmness, but all of the wax has come out, and yeah, now we've got the waxed paper. So let me show you. Whilst it's not well, it's materials, I guess, but it's nice to be able to see how you can transform this sheet. Okay, so here are some examples of the wax. So I've done patterns on this sheet and then painted it and scrunched it up. You can see the wax better there. So yeah, you just add paint to the surface and then you can get some really nice background papers that you can then use in your creative projects. Yeah, so nothing goes to waste. Don't throw them away. If you do this, don't throw them away. And yeah, I especially started when I started doing these projects. See, yeah, so this is a heavy cotton, so it has firmed up, but all of the wax has been taken off, and now I have some additional papers that will go in my you know, when you've got extra paint, you can put it on there and you build up your mixed media papers over time. Yeah. So what would I do with this one now? So I would potentially, I would like to highlight the turtle. It's in the sea, but I would like to do that with stitches, and yeah, just radiate the stitches out. It's just going to be a simple, I'll probably do back stitch around the turtle and then just simple, you know, straight stitch across, because I don't want to totally get rid of the I don't want to over stitch the wax resist like I did with this one. So this one potentially looked exactly, you know, similar to that. So yeah, I think that's a project that we could potentially lead with this month. And then as I make it through this one, I'm still going to be working on this one. The other thing that I definitely want to do is, which is a quick and easy activity, is to dye these, tea dye these, and add, I've got this whole bag of fabric bits. So I want to take the fabric scraps and they'll be attached and I'll start sewing round. So that's just something that I'm gonna be doing as the time goes on. Next week what you will get to see is this one. So I'll be working on this one, and as I say, stitching round. I can feel a blue. I've got a blue and maybe a kind of like off green I'm going to use for that. And yeah, so that's how you take projects that you don't really, are not really feeling. You sit on them for months, years, but every now and again you take them out and you look at them and you think, how do I feel about this now? How do I feel? Yeah? And then you think, well, which one do I feel the most engaged with? And that happens to be this one and these ones, because I've got this really strong tea. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I really want to see what colour you will turn these into. So everything here is going to be coloured, and then we'll just get, this could be, yeah, just a mini piece that is stitched. Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to these ones, yeah? And then we'll see how it goes through the month, and then we'll pick the next one that we'll work on. This one's a more longer term because there's a lot of stitching to be done. So I'm thinking, what's the shortest project? This one, because of the fabric and how stiff they are, that's going to be a challenging one. And so too with this one, there's pockets of thicker layers of fabric. This one I really like, so I'm going to look for the backing. So yeah, you just go through it, look at it. I think I've got another bin like this, but this is the one we chose so far. But there's some nice colours going on, isn't there? Some nice colours, and that's inspiring me, seeing these colours now. I love this colour, this blue. It's like a, not teal, like a, this is one of my favourite colours, I think. So I think this one might be the next one. I like the feel of it. And I've been thinking about texture, and it's important with when you think about the elderly with dementia and having different projects around that they can you know, interact with, that may have different textures, because that's quite a stimulating thing, feeling different textures. The soft feel of one of those blankets that, you know, you can wrap yourself in, and it feels like, I was stroking the dog the other day and I was thinking, you feel like one of those blankets. But yeah, I'm thinking this one, just interacting with this now, I like it. But there's going to be elements where the needle's going to be, it's going to be a challenge for, it's not, you see? I do need to have, so there's some places where it's going to be easy and harder in other places, but yeah, I'm thinking this one, we'll have a go at this one, yeah? Okay, so I hope that you've got something from that. Look at the projects that you're working through and reflect. So see how far you've come and what then next needs to be done, which is what I've done with all of these. And then look at projects that you've neglected because you just haven't felt like it, and see how they can inspire you through the colours, through the textures, to work on them. Yeah? So I hope, as I say, you've been inspired, and I look forward to connecting with you again.